All right, so in this lecture, which I call 21 and a half because we're filling in numbers, I would like to talk about a topic that seems to be perpetually confusing, namely boundary conditions. So boundary conditions come in many different varieties. In particular, we call them, for example, Dirichlet conditions, Neumann conditions. There's Robin conditions. Then sometimes we talk about strong and natural or weak boundary conditions. And then if you want to use physical terms, you can talk about force conditions and traction conditions and flux conditions and all of these sort of things. And what I would like to do is I would like to make a little bit of sense out of all of this zoo of names, where they come from, what they mean, and so on and so forth. So I would like to take this class on the issue of the theory behind this. So where do they enter the mathematical formalism? And then in the next class, come back to the issue of how we deal with this in practice, in finite element context.
The mayor and 3 of the council positions are on the ballot this year. However, there is only one race that is contested for the city council position for place 2. And our first candidate tonight is Gary Ives. And Sherilyn, if you'll go ahead and proceed with your first question of Mr. Ives.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us, if you will, why did you decide to run as a candidate for the College Station City Council?
I retired from Texas A&M, the Evans Library, in 2009 and soon got involved in neighborhood issues with my HOA. And I'm now in my 4th year serving as president of the HOA. In that role, I've had issues that have involved working with the city, and it was about 2 years ago probably when I first started entertaining the idea of running for city council.
Mr. Ives, would you share with us that HOA, where it's located, and what some of the concerns were in that HOA that caused you to decide to seek office?
I will. It's the Springbrook Homeowners Association. It has 4 different subdivisions that comprise the HOA. It's located down near Barron and Longmire.
Please give a warm round of applause to Dr. Ledrick Sherman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Okay, all right. I'd like to thank all of you all for coming and taking time out of your busy schedules to come and listen to just a portion of my research that stems from my dissertation. I'd like to thank the entire AAPO committee for asking me to come and speak today. I've been here for a while, and I've attended the First Friday lecture series, and I would have ever thought in a million years I would have been up here one day. And so when I got it, I was a little nervous, but I accepted, and so thank you all so much for thinking of me to ask for a presentation. Also like to thank my friends and colleagues from the Department of Health and Kinesiology. I'll go ahead and get started. So why did I choose to focus my research on type 2 diabetes? The first reason are family ties. And I was first exposed to diabetes, or really diabetes management, at a young age with my grandfather. When my brother and myself were younger, on the weekends, we would spend a lot of time with my grandparents. And my grandfather was a type 1 diabetic. And every Saturday before we got up to eat breakfast, as well as Sunday before we ate breakfast and went to church, I would watch him inject himself with insulin. And I don't know about you all, but I was terrified of needles, syringes. I hated going and getting my immunization shots and whatnot. And so I was curious, why does he have to stick himself every single morning that I'm here? I just thought it was just the mornings we were there to deal with my brother and I, our bad behavior. And he would just tell me, little things like, oh, this is just my medicine for the day. This is my medicine for the day. And one time he told me, he said, well, son, just hope and pray that you never have to go through what I'm experiencing. And so that really, really made me curious as I got older. Then fast forwarding to 2002, both of my parents were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes as well. I also have an uncle and aunt and a cousin who are living with type 2 diabetes. And outside of family, I've had friends of the family where I attend church who have been impacted by diabetes, 2 that I know that have been so severe that they've had either a foot or a leg amputated because of poor self-care management. And so I was really, really curious about that when I came to begin my doctoral program. I knew that I wanted to focus on diabetes, but I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to focus on type 1 diabetes or type 2, if I wanted to focus on the general population or minorities in particular. And so I spent about 2 summers doing lit reviews, really just getting out into the literature, public health and health education literature, and really looking to see what was out there on both type 1 and type 2. And I really wanted to make an impact by focusing on what I did not see.